All right, guys, once you learn this one music theory technique for your chords, your chord progressions will never be the same. Your music will sound super unique. Let me play a couple of techniques here. So the first one is to understand what's called dominant to tonic resolution. I teach this in my music theory magic course at busyworksbeats.com/music theory magic. But this is called a dominant chord. We're also altering the chord so it sounds a little more R&B. Okay, so it's learning about how to resolve a chord. So here's another example. Here's another example. Okay, so in that case, we went from, it doesn't show on the screen because I'm playing a lot of notes, but we went from A dominant ninth to E. So the technique is like, how do you figure this out? So I can literally take a note that I haven't even practiced yet. Let's close my eyes, pick a random note. Okay, so we're on the note D. So we're gonna make a ninth chord starting from D. It could be D major ninth or D minor ninth. In this case, we're gonna use the minor ninth just to keep it simple. This will be our, I'll say our home note, our tonic. So this is where we want to land. So the simple technique is to take your root note and count up 7 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This leads you to what's called the perfect fifth. Now from the perfect fifth, you want to learn how to create what's called a dominant chord. I teach this in my chord codes. If you guys go to busyworksbeats.com/music theory, you'll get a chord code chart for free. In short, the chord code is 0, 4, 7, 10, 14. So start here at A. This is 0. Count up every single note on your keyboard, including the black note. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So basically we've created a dominant 7th chord at this point, which is both a major triad and a minor 7th on top. That's what creates the dominant sound. It's both a major and a minor chord. 10. And then to make this a dominant ninth, we have to go up to the ninth, which is 7 semitones away from the 5th. So let's keep counting. So this is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. This is the technical dominant ninth chord, but it sounds very bland to me. So we could play it this way, which is just play this and then go back to the tonic. So it does work. It's a nice sound depending on how I use it. I would do this more in like a Lupe Fiasco type beat where it's like going, going, going. Back to you, going, going. Back to you, going, going. Back to you. Something like that. But if I'm going for more of an R&B tone, what we could do, which I teach in my course called the Music Theory Magic in busyworksbeats.com/music theory magic, we're going to take what's called the 5th and pull this up 1 note. We're going to take our 9th and pull that up 1 note. So now we get more of a jazzier, like a romantic R&B sound. Let's try both. Going, going, back. So let's do this again. Going, going, back to you. Going, going, back to you. Going, going, back to you. Now switch up the voicing. Going, going. See how we can change that. Let me do it one more time because I gotta look up and look down at the same time. So it's back to you. And it's going, going, back to you. Going, going, back to you. Now watch when I switch the chord. Going, going. Going, going. Like we could change up the melodic note now. Going, going. Back to you. Going, going. Back to you. Going, going. Back to you. Let's switch it up. Going, going. Back to you. See how we switched up that top line to where it let us go out of the key? So that's the secret, is about understanding the dominant chord from years and years and years. I used to skip over the dominant because people were voicing it so boring. They would play it like this. Most people teach you C major and then they play the dominant chord in a very boring way. It's like, that's not how we play it in modern music. And that's why most people skip over the dominant chord, because we think it's just arbitrary. So if I were to play like the dominant seventh, it would sound like this. It's like, who plays stuff like that? It's very vanilla, very boring. But once I show you guys the real implications, where it's like a Lupe Fiasco track, where it's like, you, when I'm going back to you, when I'm going back to you, when I'm going back to you, and then we can switch it up. Going back to you. Let's do a couple. Going back to you. When I'm going back to you. Let's switch it up right here. Going, or we could do going, or we could do going back to you. See how we switched up that? It went going, da-da. So now I'll just play the chords instead of singing. But hopefully you guys get the concept. So practice melody over this. Okay, so now you can, when you really get into your Lupe Fiasco bag, you can make it to where you can play the notes not like all at once, where it's like this, you can play it more melodically. I just gave you all the keys to the music theory kingdom. You're going to make better chord progressions. You're going to make better melodies because of that simple technique. We're going to take, again, here's your tonic. Here's your dominant chord that is kind of bland, but we made it sound good because of the melody. I like to raise that fifth and ninth. Like this. It's called an altered chord. Come back to the tonic. Let's close my eyes, pick one random key again. I'll land it on A. So what is let's practice this concept again. This is our tonic. So let's create the chord for this. Let's make it A minor 11th. Let's go down an octave, just so it's just more jazz sounding. So here's our A minor 11th, for example. Now how do we find the dominant chord for this? We take the tonic note, count up 7 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we use our dominant chord code formula, 0, 4, 7, 10, 14. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. A little bit tricky to play, you know, because you got to get used to those black notes. That's a nice sound. I like this one. It's just a little tricky to play. And I think because we're playing the 11th version, it leads back into the chord a little bit easier. That's a really nice sound. It's tricky to get your mind around those. Okay, now let's do an altered chord here. So this is the tonic, remember. We're coming back here. Now how do we know where to go to? We take the root note, we count up 7 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then from here, we make a dominant chord from here. Now this is called the raised 5th, raised 9th, so it's an altered chord. That one I can play a little more fluently. So let's do our same technique. Come up with the melody. Dun, 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 dun. Let's switch it up. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, see, it's a little tricky there. Dun, 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 dun. See how it is so easy to make melody using this concept? Dun, 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 dun. Now here we're gonna switch it up. And then we could end off on a different chord. Or some other chord. Showing y'all the keys. I just gave you the keys on how to get out of the key, how to sound more jazz-like, how to create melodies instantly. That dominant to tonic is really where you want to focus, because that is the secret to most jazz sound, is that dominant to tonic. Here's a couple more examples. Now, we picked a couple new keys so that I could prove to you guys in real time how simple it is once you learn how to get your fingers in the position. Let's try a couple more. So here's... It's dominant to tonic. Here's another example. It's called a substitution. Okay, and then we could do... Dun, dun, dun. See how it circles back into each other? That dominant to tonic is so powerful. Let's do it at D real quick. Forgot the melody we have for this. Skateboard in my skateboard. Jump on it. That for the rock, skateboard, rock. That's the Tyler the Creator sound, Pharrell's sound. You guys could dig into, what did I say? What was the other person we did? Lupe Fiasco type sound. So I just gave you guys a lot of keys. Practice. That's the main thing, is to simply practice the dominant to tonic resolution. That will give you so much more advancement in your chord progressions, because the cool thing is you can go out of key on purpose. Like here, what key are we in? We're in two different keys. But it all feels cohesive because we're doing this dominant to tonic resolution. You can create cool melodies like that. So I could be here all day because it's such a fun thing to do. Your brain will understand melodies a lot faster because you're using that dominant to tonic. All right, y'all. The video, I don't want to make this too long. Share with a friend. Like this video. Go to busyworksbeats.com/music theory to get your free chord code chart for free and to learn more about music theory. Peace out, guys.